I think there's a very important distinction of what's happening here. OpenAI has existing contracts with Scale AI, but what we've learned is that that relationship is going to change in the future.
Yes, OpenAI is phasing out the remaining work that it's doing with Scale AI. The company has branched out a lot over the past few years as its data needs have expanded vastly and also changed based on the kinds of models that it's building. So at this point, Scale represents the company puts it as a very small fraction of its business, but over time, it's going to now be totally phasing that out.
Rachel, these two stories, yours and Jackie's, are linked, the narratives, because, of course, Alexander Wang goes to the superintelligence team over at Meta and indeed takes a lot of the talent from Scale AI there. Other companies, perhaps not just OpenAI, start to move away from Scale AI. Are you hearing it elsewhere that maybe these contracts get undone in the future?
We are definitely hearing that companies that provide data and data services, it's a very fragmented space. There are a lot of companies that are much less known than Scale, but that are also worked with by these companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, and many others. And I know they're seeing a surge of inbound interest, and they also are hearing from some nervousness from some of their customers. Companies tend to work with a bunch of players, and it is possible that this tie-up, even though Scale has said it will remain as an independent business, it will make people nervous.
We should say that Scale AI did decline to comment on the story, just as Meta declined to comment on the Sam Altman claims on comp. The history of Scale is interesting because there's an element of manual work that they were doing, and they relied on this kind of army of contractors. Just explain the basics of that, because my reading of your story is that OpenAI was thinking about the relationship over the past year before a lot of this happened anyway.
Yes. So Scale AI, you're absolutely correct. It started out as a business that had a large number of contractors that were paid to label data for AI models. Over time, though, the AI market has shifted, and it's shifted quite rapidly. So at this point, while it still has that legacy human data labeling business, it's also expanded into a few other areas. And one of them is increasingly hiring experts, experts that might work a few hours on the nights or weekends, someone with a PhD or a law degree. And instead of labeling data directly, what they're doing is coming up with difficult tasks for AI models to solve. And that's also something that's become increasingly important to OpenAI. But it seems like OpenAI felt that Scale was not quite up to the level that it needed to support its products with this kind of work.